So the big question is how do health experts like you and I generate more income, impact more people, and create businesses that work around their lifestyle and serve their family at the highest possible level? If you want the answer to that question, then you're in the right place at the right time. Whether you're a dietitian, a nutritionist, or a nutrition coach, this is for you. My name is Dr. Javier Carlin, and I want to welcome you to the Practice Revolution. We are a movement that is revolutionizing the way private practices are built so you can practice on your terms. So go ahead and join us and follow along as we learn, apply, and share the top business growth strategies that we're using to grow our own business and to help you grow yours, using only the best insights and advice from top industry leaders. So thank you so much for listening. Enjoy the show. What is going on, everyone? Welcome. My name is Javier. This is Marissa. I'm a physical therapist. She's a registered dietitian, and we are the co-founders of the Practice Revolution, where we help dietitians and nutrition coaches to replace their income, break free from their 9 to 5, and get to the point where they're achieving 10K, 20K months and beyond that. So if that's you, you're at the right place at the right time. We have a very, very special guest, Amy. How you doing? Thank you so much for being here.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me.
So for those of you who don't know Amy was a magazine and web editor for many years before becoming a registered dietitian. So while on staff at publications including Health, Prevention, Parents, and Weight Watchers magazine, she learned all the secrets to becoming sought after by the media. And now she shares this media wisdom through the Master the Media programs. She's authored thousands of magazine and web articles for national publications and has written for such outlets as Food Network and Everyday Health. That is amazing, Amy. So again, excited to have you here. And why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself and the story of how you got to where you are today?
Yeah, so when I was a magazine editor for 8 years, and about 7 of those years, I was going back to school at night. You guys know how long it takes to become a dietitian when you don't have any science classes under your belt. And that whole time I was kind of observing all of these dietitians I would interview as an editor. And I thought, wow, this whole world of being a media dietitian, being featured in magazine articles on TV is really cool. And hey, these dietitians get to work with brands and it looks like they make a lot of money from that. So I started exploring what that meant. And the minute I became a dietitian, I just kind of combined everything, started working with brands, got to the point within a year where I was earning over $200,000 from working with brands. And then people started asking me questions about this. And I just thought, there's something to this because people have questions and this is a really nice line of revenue. So that's really what I do now. I help dietitians and other health professionals too. We actually have some physical therapists as well. Yeah. And kind of just learn how to get into the media, learn how to work with brands, either having that be the entirety of what you do or having that be an add-on to a full-time job or having a private practice. So that's everything in a nutshell.
Yeah, I love that. So what are some ways, because I'm sure we have several people who are watching this either live, and if you're watching this live, say hello in the chat, don't be a stranger, or if you're watching this on the replay, put replay. We love to know who's with us here tonight. So I'm sure many people are asking, like, when it comes to media and brands, like, what does that even look like? How can you actually earn additional revenue through working with the media and different brands?
I think that's a great question, because when you hear the term media dietitian, you might be like, what does that even mean? So basically, working with media just means being interviewed by, Food Network, Eat This Not That, Live Strong, outlets like that, or podcasts, or being featured on TV, or all of the above. And that helps get your name out there. That helps you establish a media presence that really kind of makes you famous, or clients can say, oh my gosh, I'm working with this famous dietitian, or other, brands might look at you and say, wow, we want to work with this dietitian because she's well known. And so that helps you establish name recognition. And then those opportunities that can earn you money. So working with brands, and that can mean anything from creating recipes for them to doing social media posts to doing consulting or developing health practitioner toolkits. There's a million different things you can do with brands, and some of them are behind the scenes, some of them are in front of the scenes, and they work for any different kind of personality. Also, speaking engagements, you can get paid quite a bit of money for those when you become well known, and also book deals. Those are kind of the main lines of revenue that come from establishing that name recognition that comes with the media. And then the other one too is, because I know there's a lot of private practice RDs in here, is the more name recognition you build, the more you get to charge, because maybe you're kind of heading up your practice and your fee is higher than the dietitians who work underneath you because you're that famous dietitian.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. So when we're talking media, right, because you mentioned that no matter your personality and who you are as a person, whether introverted, extroverted, whatever it is, that there's something for you. So I'm assuming the media could be articles, it could be being on TV. It looks like several different ways. Is there any other types of media?
Yeah, I mean, there's also podcast and radio. Those are kind of, think TV without the actually getting ready to put your makeup on part. It really, I'm actually introverted, and it took me doing TV actually kind of helped me become a little bit less so, but it works out that you have so many opportunities. Like you can do email or phone interviews if you don't want to, do a big TV or speaking engagement. And you don't have to, some people just get very oh my gosh, I'm going to be so nervous. But the fact is, when you're talking to one person on TV, like we're doing right now, I'm talking to you guys, even though I'm really talking to your whole Facebook group, which is thousands of people, right? Yeah. So I don't feel nervous. Now I'm making myself nervous because I feel like I'm just talking to you guys and it's a conversation. And that's the beauty of really any of those forms of media that I just mentioned.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is nice to know that when you say working with the media, right, or working with brands, that there is something for everyone, right? So for those of you guys that are more extroverted, you guys want to be on TV, you want to do those maybe, radio shows, go somewhere in person, work with those big brands, there's something for you. But also if you kind of want to be just behind the scenes, maybe just write an article, do a podcast, there's something for everyone. But either way, you're still building that authority, that brand recognition. And you can do it being in front of thousands of people. You can also do it at home, just, writing an article. So that is nice that there's that balance there.
Yeah. And like you said, you can write articles or create recipes, or if you love being in front of people, you can help brands host events, or, be at Fancy, being the talent at the booth where people are talking to. So every personality has something and you might enjoy all of it.
Yeah. So in terms of time commitment, what is a role like this kind of entail? Is this something that people do on the side of the job that they currently have? Is this something that people do full time? What does that look like?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it can be anywhere from 30 minutes a week to your full-time job. So a lot of people start off by doing this on the side. They have a full-time job or they have a private practice and they just start, sometimes even for your full-time job, you do media and that's how you start. And then you might kind of, become more sought after and more people are reaching out to you. So that adds up to a few more hours a week. Even though this is my full-time kind of, gig working with media and working with brands, I spend anywhere from, I'd say, half a day to a full day every week doing interviews. But that also includes, the longer form ones like podcasts and radio and TV. But if you don't have that much time, you can definitely just do one or two interviews with there's outlets like Caro, Help a Reporter Out, you can sign up for and kind of get a daily digest of media opportunities. And then working with brands too, there's some really kind of time involved deliverables. If you host an event, there's a lot that goes into kind of helping the brand to figure that out and being at the event and doing follow-up interviews. But if you do something like creating a recipe, then that's a couple of hours of work and then you're done.
Yeah, so it sounds like there's something for everyone in every way.
And that's the fun part about it. Also, it's just fun. This, every day I wake up and I'm just I'm excited to work because what I do is fun.
Yeah, that's amazing. How do you actually get featured in the media? I'm sure that's a burning question a lot of people ask.
Yeah, so really it's about getting connected with the people who write those stories, right? So there's a couple of ways. One I just mentioned, Haro, Help a Reporter Out. So if you just go to helpareporter.com, you can actually sign up for a daily digest. It's free. It'll come into your inbox 3 times a day. And you just kind of see those queries, you answer them. You have to actually answer the questions. So like if there's 3 questions, you answer them, and then you kind of just cross your fingers that you're going to get included in the article. The sooner you reply, the better. Also, I run a Facebook group called Media Mastery for Health Professionals, and there every single day there's Food Network, Eat This Not That reporters. And that's really cool because it's a smaller pool. So maybe 10 people are putting their hand in the pot versus thousands who are replying through Haro.
That's amazing. So how do you spell that? H-E-R?
H-A-R-O.
H-A-O, hair.
Help a reporter out.
Okay, sorry.
I know, I'm probably like speaking a different language here.
No, it was totally me. I got it. Awesome.
It took me a couple times to like, oh, help a reporter out. Got it.
I love it. So good. Cool. And by the way, everyone, if you're tuning in live with us right now and you have some questions for Amy, go ahead and start asking your questions in the chat now. We may get to them in our conversation, but if we don't, at the end, we'll make sure we have a little Q&A to get all your questions answered. So make sure you take advantage because we've got some time here with Amy today, and she could really help you out. And so so we talked about the media and getting featured in the media. How do you actually land on the other side, brand partnerships, and what does that look like?
Yeah, so really the first step to landing brand partnerships is building a media presence. So that's really why you want to do those media interviews and get featured. So say, you spend the next month doing like getting featured in media, and you have, say you've been featured in Livestrong and Food Network and Eat This Not That. Then you can take those logos and put them on your website and have what's called an as seen in section. So I know a lot of times you go to people's websites and you see, featured in, and so that's how, say a brand might go to your website and say, oh, wow, like right off the bat, without having to do a deep dive into your website, they can see this person really does a lot of work with the media. So and of course you want to share everything like on your social networks and, have a page on your website for your media and all of that. So then you can get to the point where brands might start reaching out to you, but you really want to start doing that outreach. So make a list of brands where you're like, for me, sometimes I'm just like, what products do I eat every day? Like I love oat milk. I make a cappuccino with it at least a few times a week. And so I ended up working with Planet Oat, which is an oat milk brand, and that was a perfect fit. So you can kind of see what you're passionate about. Like maybe you guys cook dinner with the product every night and you're like, this is the brand I want to work with. And then you can kind of, then the next part is a little bit harder and you have to figure out who to contact at the brand. But once you do that, you can kind of ask for, introduce yourself, like give them some ideas for partnering together and, ask for a Zoom coffee date and then see what happens. And a lot of times those conversations, the brand might not be looking for someone today, but some of my biggest partnerships, like over $60,000 have happened by just staying in touch with those brands. And then when they do have the budget, they still, we're still in touch and they think of me first.
That is so awesome that like as a dietitian, you can literally get paid to promote and talk about and work with these brands that you use every single day. Like what better job is there than that?
There really isn't one in my opinion.
I love that. What are some, and I know you mentioned some of them already. And I think for everyone that's listening, like, you had mentioned when someone goes to your site or goes to your social media profile, really being able to promote yourself and letting people know that you have been, as seen on, right? And so I think that there's so much importance to that. I think now more than ever, branding yourself is key because there's so much noise out there. There's a lot of people that are doing very similar things, and because there is so much promotion now, people are more skeptical than ever. And so I think by being able to put yourself out in the media, to have those brand partnerships, and to be able to gain that authority, and in the eyes of others from their perspective, when they see those different names and magazines that you've written for, it really allows people to feel like they're in the hands of an expert, right? And that's exactly because every single one of you are experts. And so obviously it'd be nice if you didn't need all of that, but hey, it is what it is. And so it definitely helps, right? And so if you can gather that recognition, like you were saying earlier, Amy, it can really help you to grow other aspects of your business. And so with that, what are some other opportunities that can come from working with the media and brands?
Yeah. And I think everything you just said really just highlights, working with the media is really one of the quickest and easiest ways to elevate your position as an authority figure. And yeah, so there, we talked about brand partnerships, getting paid speaking engagements. That's something where, I know a lot of people think, oh, if I get a few $100s from speaking, but you can get $5,000 from speaking when you have that name recognition behind you. And sometimes it's for a brand, sometimes it's just being a keynote speaker for a conference. Same with book deals. You can literally times 10 the amount that you get offered for your advance because you're well known, because you are using your media recognition to build your social media platforms, and just that's something that agents and publishers look at, like, can this person help spread the word about this book once it's published? And if the answer is yes, they will pay you more.
Amazing. So I'm curious, because I know at Fancy, like, you personally had sponsorships, right, for your event.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was really cool. And I'm like, man, we've got tons of events coming this year. I wonder if we can get our event sponsored. And so for those of you that, for those that are watching now, this is kind of like a selfish question too. But for everyone else that's maybe hosting, like, if you have a brick and mortar location, maybe you're hosting an event, at your location. Maybe you're partnering up with local businesses that may be a bit bigger than you and a bit like, franchises, whatever it is, and they're hosting events, and you can kind of bring that component to the table as well if you understand the media and branding side of things. So, like, what is, I guess from that perspective, like, what are some other benefits that people can gain from learning how to do things like that? Because that was very intriguing for me.
Yeah, for sure. And what Javi is talking about is at Fancy this year, literally 3 weeks before Fancy, I was like, you know what? I want to have an event and I want to have it sponsored and paid for. And so I had relationships with some brands. And so California Walnuts and the National Chicken Council ended up sponsoring the event and providing goodies for the gift bags, which is amazing because then you can host a much nicer event than like I could have, paid for out of my own pocket. And so really, it can go both ways. So like sometimes if you don't have a relationship with a brand already, that's how you can begin your relationship, is saying like, I'm hosting this event. I have 100 people who are your ideal audience for X, Y, or Z. And, sometimes it can be also like if you say you're being offered a nominal fee, $200 for speaking at a conference, and you really want to do it, but you have to fly across the country, and that's kind of a pain. So sometimes these conferences would allow you to have a brand sponsor your fee, and you can get what you want to, and you can speak at the conference you want to. So those are kind of, sometimes what you can do. If you already, and that later on, like once you do this with a brand, they might want to work with you in other ways. And then the other way it goes is if you already have a relationship, like I had already worked with California Walnuts. So It was very easy for me to go to them and say, hey, do you want to do this other thing? Because we already know each other. And so that's really the beauty of it. Like you can have, I think sometimes people think like, oh, all I can get a brand to do, and I mean, not that this is a small thing, is to sponsor a blog post on my website or to sponsor one Instagram post. But what you really want to do is upsell, say, okay, we can not only do a blog post together, we can do an Instagram live, we can do this event sponsorship that I have coming up. And if you also want to put a product in a gift bag, and I can also send an email blast about the product, and just think, what else can you do? And that's where you turn, say, $1,000 into, a lot more than that.
Yeah, I like the lot more. That's always nice. Yeah, for sure. Amazing. So in a moment, everyone, like if this is like piquing your interest, if you're like, like this sounds really interesting, I've heard of it before, or maybe you haven't, but you're like, I want to definitely learn more. In just a moment, we're going to talk to you about a amazing masterclass that Amy is going to be hosting, where you can actually dive even deeper into what this actually looks like and how you could actually implement something like this into your life and into your career. And so we'll talk about that in a moment. But for now, we would love to answer any questions that you have. Any questions that you have, just go ahead and drop them in the chat right now. And Amy's gonna fire away.
Yeah, I'll answer them.
We do have one question already. This is from Elisa. Says, what do you think about the A&D spokesperson program? is it worthwhile, or would it actually restrict your ability to work with brands?
So that's a great question. So it's a great program. The benefits are that they media train you. They have full day immersions, I think every year at Fancy, to media train you. They bring media opportunities to you. So, you can get literally thousands of media placements from being a spokesperson. It's a great thing for you to do, say, if you have a full-time job and in a few years, because the term for the spokesperson job is 3 years. If okay, I want to slowly build up my media experience, and in 3 years, I want to go out on my own and I want to work with brands and do all this other stuff. If today you run your own business and you depend on that for income, it might not be the best fit because you can't work with brands while you're an A&D spokesperson. And that's the drawback, is you cannot get paid by a brand. So it really kind of just depends what situation you're in today.
Cool. Awesome. Good stuff. Well, any other questions there?
I don't see any questions on my end.
Okay.
But Amy, you are in the Facebook group. So if you guys are watching the replay, feel free to drop your questions below, tag Amy. Probably more than happy to answer
I'm
them.
happy to answer them.
I think, but
awesome. Is there anything else that we didn't ask that we should have?
I think, the one thing I think that comes up is people often see oh, wow, that's really cool working with the media and working with brands, but there's no way I'd have the time to do that. And that's just something I want you to get that out of your head, because you can do it in small pieces and over time you can build it into something bigger. But if you don't start, you're never going to even get to the point that you want to be. So you have to just, if you want to start this, start it, this month.
100%. Yeah. Taking those small little action steps now will pave the way for amazing things in your business down the line. So definitely agree with you. Start now. And what better time to start now than in the new year, right? Everyone's hitting those New Year goals. So maybe set some goals for yourself to get featured in at least one thing this year. Take those baby steps, if anything.
And that is so doable.
100%. I mean, after you said literally anyone can do this, there's stuff for introverts, there's stuff for extroverts. There's so many options. It's amazing. There's no reason why you can't do this. I have a kind of a fun question for you.
Okay.
What do you think has been maybe your most fun project, or most exciting project that you've been a part of so far?
I'll give you two, because it's always so hard to decide.
Sure.
Right before the pandemic, I worked with Panda Express, the national restaurant chain, to help them make their menu healthier. And that was literally a dream job, because I got to do things that were impacting the health of the whole country. And so they let me just kind of I wrote them, I think, a 70-something page memo of all the things that I was recommending and how we would implement them. But the amazing thing was that they actually ran with what we, so that was year one of our partnership, was me just taking a deep dive into everything. And then year two, I was their spokesperson, and we actually started implementing all of that. And that was just so incredible, reducing added sugar, reducing sodium, changing out some of the preservatives and things like that. And then my other just fun project. So I love coffee. If anyone knows me, that if you come to my house, it's kind of like a Starbucks, I'll make you whatever you want. And so I got to make a coffee company hired me to make a recipe book for them to use on their website of I just got to spend, a few weeks of my life making coffee recipes and drinking coffee. So I was really happy.
That sounds
not bad.
That sounds amazing. That sounds so good. So
It's his dream job.
I know, seriously.
That
good. I know. Tell me about it. Oh, I'm all in. I'm signing up for this masterclass. So speaking about the masterclass, Amy, can you tell us a little bit more about what this mysterious masterclass is and how we can get our hands on it?
Yes, of course. So later this month, on January 18th and 19th, I'm offering 3 dates and times. So you can choose. There's one midday on the 18th, and then there's one in the morning and one at night on the 19th. And what it's going to be is it's a really fun masterclass. So there's prizes, guys, just a little teaser. And we're going to walk through, how, so I I shared my income recently that I earned $203,000 in a 12-month period just from working with brands. And I have 5 other revenue streams. So I'm literally walking you through how you can do that too, because it's not something that like only a few people get to do. It's something that every single one of us can accomplish. So I know Javi and Marissa have a link for the masterclass that they're going to drop, but it's free. Spots are limited. So you have to grab your spot like as soon as possible. And then if you guys need continuing education credits, the last masterclass, the one at 5 p.m. on the 19th, it's a little bit longer, but that one offers a continuing education credit.
Love it.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yep, I dropped the link already inside the chat. And so if anyone wants to register, like Amy said, definitely recommend it. It is free. And you're going to get tons of knowledge on how you can master the media.
Yes.
It's going to be so much fun.
So much fun. So it's three dates, right? You said, what were the dates again?
So January 18th at 1 p.m. Eastern time, January 19th at 10 a.m. Eastern time, and January 19th at 5 p.m. Eastern time. So literally like there should be a time in there that works for everybody.
Excellent.
Perfect.
Excellent.
Question that we get all the time. Are there replays available in case somebody can't make any?
100%. So if you're like, I don't think I can make it, or none of those dates and times work, sign up anyway. I'll send you the replay after the class.
Of course. Beautiful.
Awesome.
Perfect.
Cool.
And the CEUs is just like the cherry on top, right?
Right.
Like,
And the prizes, like it'll be like a couple $100 in prizes. So you should come.
Awesome.
yes,
Awesome.
yes. There is no reason not to sign up for this. It's free. There's prizes, CEUs, there's replays. You get to learn and spend some time with Amy. Like,
doesn't get better than that.
Yeah. Awesome.
Awesome, Amy. Well, thank you so much for being here with us tonight. For everyone else, thank you so much for being here as well. We hope you have a great start to your new year, and we'll see you very soon.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Hey, what's up? Thank you so much for watching the show. I know your time is super valuable, and I know that you're here to learn how to grow a successful practice. So I have something special just for you. If you are a health expert who is in business or aspiring to be, and you're curious about how to grow a profitable, impactful practice, you're going to want to pay attention. Because as a person who is watching the show, I want you to win. So I've created a bundle of resources exclusively for those who are watching the Practice Revolution. So if you are tired of trying to figure out this game of business, marketing, and sales all on your own, and you're ready to implement what's already proven to work rather than reinventing the wheel, you're going to want to send us a private message on Instagram at The Practice Revolution. And simply just let us know that you watched this show, and we'll personally hand over $7,000 worth of trainings, resources, and coaching that is available only for those who are watching this show on YouTube. So if you want to know how to increase your income, impact, and build a practice that works for the lifestyle that you want and that serves your family at the highest level, send us a private message on Instagram at The Practice Revolution. Do it now so you can win big in your practice and in your life. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next show.